Is it a rough road ahead, or is this going to be a great antique barn full of stuff? There's more stuff behind the fence, and there are other YouTubers here with me. I don't know if this place even has a name. It's by the side in the road in, where are we in New York?
Oneida.
We're in Oneida. Oh, okay. Cool old highway signs, and I guess there's guinea fowl around here. I'm going to look behind the fence first. Looks like they carry all sorts of stuff. Most of it actually looks like it's old vintage antique. Some of it's pretty cool. You know, I like rust and stuff. Neat old gate here. That's not so old, but they have a mix. Old wood stove. This looks like something that's been converted into a lamp. Oh, you know I like these. I've always wanted to have one of these funny springing things, and that one's really cool with the fish. I'll have to ask them when we get inside how much that is. Interesting device here, a couple of different ladders that fold together to create a step ladder. If somebody has a better idea of how this would have been used in a farm back in the old days, let me know. I think what it is that you can extend the ladder up using the base. The Corey, that's a good old fire extinguisher. Keep off grass. Oh yes, those signs used to be really popular with the stoner set back in the 1970s and 80s. They thought that was funny. They thought everything was funny, in fact. Cool windmill. Old garage sign. Oh, some big old bells. They really do have some really neat things. This one was made in Seneca Falls, not too far from here. A one-horse open sleigh, as in Jingle Bells. And this is a really cool, very basic sit-behind horse carriage with a big high wheel. That would have been useful out on a farm or in a place with a lot of mud. Special of the day, that's a cool old chalkboard. They've got that one priced at $35. That seems like a pretty good price. Some people still like clowns. I know a lot of younger people are kind of afraid of them. And there's who I'm with today. Sandi's from My Clip and Van Life. Hello. And Jocelyn from Crazy Lamp Lady, and we are all going to go in and see what there is here. I've done the outside, now let's see what's inside. Sandi came in before us, so she spotted some things and is wondering what we're going to see that we're going to pick, because she left it here for us to see. I see a bunch of really cool lamps. A lot of parlor lamps, Victorian. I really like the pink one here with the nice brass surround. All polished. These are going to be from around the 1890. This one has the old gap tank on the bottom still. Jocelyn is going to be pretty interested in some of these pieces. There's some nice bohemian glass from the Victorian era there. A really good pickle caster that looks like it has the original liner, only $195. The prices have really come down on those, and they're quite reasonable. They seem like they've settled in that area. Now. Interesting English humidor here. You would have those brass bales so that they would seal the top tightly. Big glass cane. The really old glass canes sell for a lot. This one is a 1980s version because they were so popular you couldn't find the originals.
Feeling like cash?
$195 on the car there with the NRA logo from about 1930 with the National Recovery app. Sorry, I'll get out of your way there. Has the Gruen watch aerial there for sale? Yeah. Could I take a look at that, please? I'll tell you what, you can just hold it and I won't make you hand it to me. That's pretty neat. So that is the Time Hill plant in Cincinnati. Very good. It's really fun in New York because you'll find places like this where they have just sort of a roadside spot. There's a nice cotton piece in there, the opalescent with the blue for an eye to buy. And they'll just have all sorts of interesting things in a place like this that you might not necessarily expect.
Unless you want the rest.
This is a very interesting piece to me, but a little as is.
You know the drill.
Okay, let's see what we've got. A bunch of nice Victorian glass and the ruby bohemian in there. This is a pretty base, the green with the floral painted. You know, we look at all this Fenton artware and it's nice and people really enjoy it, but it's all based on pieces that were done a century before like this. And really, the pieces from a century before are selling for around the same prices these days. This is really cool. FFA Clarn. This is an award. Well, actually, it's the desk item for the secretary. It looks like Sirocco wood to me. 1930s or so. That's pretty neat, priced at $125. Unusual thing. Iron Fireman, I've had that ashtray before. What else we have back here? This is a neat bank in the back that I'd like to see. But first, let's take a look at this, because this is moss rose. But this is the original moss rose from the Victorian era. We see a lot of the 1960s Japanese redos, but this one is ironstone china. Oh, and Knowles Taylor and Knowles. So this is actually American from the Victorian period. Very interesting. I'm going to look into this. There used to be a time when this would have sold for much more than this. I don't know what the market is now, so we're going to do a little research. Behind it is a pair of Rosenthal with the sterling cap and foot. Their moss rose from right after the Second World War. So it's a pattern that's been very popular for a long time. It turns out the moss rose syrups are selling for a pretty good price, so I'm going to take that one. I was really trying to get in to look at the burglar-proof house safe bank there, which is cool, on price at $75, not a bad deal. Here's a nice old salt glaze pitcher for, you can see they've got $225 on that. That seems to be European. There's a neat old stovepipe hat. Made locally here in Buffalo. Superior quality. That's the kind of hat I ought to be wearing. She's quite beautiful. We've been talking about porcelain and how porcelain has been underappreciated for a long time, but really fine pieces by good companies. Now this one is made in Oneida, so it's a more recent piece, but she is very pretty. And we're all talking about how it may be a moment where porcelain is such a good deal for the price that the historic and antique pieces are worth looking for again. And Lucas is a fairly well-known deep weight carver from the 1980s and 90s. They have a set of the miniature ducks here. You know, everyone got so excited about the other glass, I think they walked by this piece, but I really like this. It's Venetian, as opposed to Murano, because it wasn't made on the island, but it's got the Venice label. This is going to be 1950s or 60s. I like the opalescence and the pink. I'm going to carry it to the door so you can see how pretty a color that is. And for $25, I'm going to take that with me. So there's so much cool stuff in this place. I see something in the back. Beyond, actually, there's a lot of really cool things I see in here. And it looks like it's okay for us to open this, but it slides side to side. So this could be a trick. Hang on. My aunt had the miser bank. The miser is this wonderful pig with this evil look saying, "I love money." I have never seen another one. And my cousin has it now. Cousin Carl, who you've seen on this channel. It's just so great. And I think I might have to have that. I used to feel really sorry for these frogs, but apparently they're poisonous. And so they actually kill them because they're a threat to people wherever they're from in Central America. And that's why they do the taxidermy. Poor turtle didn't deserve it, though.
Don't waste the poisonous frogs, just make them taxidermy.
Exactly. It's interesting. Jocelyn was just saying that in some places you cannot sell these, and we're not sure if it's indigenous ones that you can't sell, which is more likely, or whether it's the ones from elsewhere. But in any event, it's going to stay here. Inkwell and letter folder is cool. There's not as many inkwell collectors these days, and it's a basic one, but the fact that it's got both pieces interests me. Good quality brass from about 1910. And, you know, because there's two pieces, I just about think I have to get this. We'll see if the inkwell has its lighter. That does make a difference. Trying to be very careful here. There's so many of us stopping that if the cases are open and we can reach in, I'm trying to do it without bothering them. Yeah, nice Art Nouveau. Oh, and it's Jennings Brothers, so that's actually a pretty good brand. And it's got the liner, so we have a winner. Bush Beer Mug is a really cool thing, $75. That's a later issue, but it's a great advertising piece. Well, we're lucky we hit this place. They're only open on weekends, but wow, what a great stash of interesting things. The old Coca-Cola hat is a neat thing that a soda jerk would have worn back in the 1940s. I like the I Said Madonna here. This is another piece. This one is Arte Murano. ISET wasn't necessarily considered one of the more premium makers in its time, but it's actually a neat looking piece, and I like the orange color. nice. Let's see what you got.
Oh, I just found a John Perry for $4.
Nice.
This is the little collection of the vases that we liked. Don't have the name, but it looks like very Dior.
Very Dior, yeah, that's going to be the style, and then one of those is going to be the maker, but I think it's this name here is our maker. Yeah, this is new to all of us.
Yes, and this is from the same collection.
Very cute. Yeah, I like the little CT.
Yeah, the feet are cute.
Flower powered pins, that's nice.
Here's those. And then this is something I have never seen before. The Frolic Bears, the Fenton pattern is my favorite one. I call them the Dancing Bears, but technically they're the Frolic Bears.
Yeah.
And I have 2 other pieces right now in a van. Yes, I have 2 other pieces.
Yes, she gets this all out of her van post. You should watch her channel, by the way. It's really interesting. She travels in a van all over the country and does this like the rest of us do. And it's an amazing lifestyle. My flippin' van life.
Thank you.
What a neat piece that is, though. I like Jack in the Pulpits, too.
I didn't even know they made it in a Jack in the Pulpit style.
How cool. I don't think I've seen that piece either. So she was just telling me, if I don't break it, that it's an older John Perry because the signature is on the bottom and it doesn't have the little cartouche on it. So we'll try to get Jocelyn to buy it because I just got a whole bunch of these. Classic Genie light, that's an Evans. $12 is a good price in the bronze finish. You don't see that as often. Joan of Arc. These bookends are on fire. Okay, bad joke. I wish they had a pair of $10. It's certainly a good price for a single, though. Just stuff everywhere you look. Wonderful Art Nouveau dresser box for $65 and one behind it for $45. Those are the prices we pay for just sort of ordinary ones of that size, so that seems pretty good. A 50-year Chevrolet Service Award. Some doctor's office sign. 4 roses. There's just a lot of cool stuff here. I like the bicolored perfume bottle there. I like that a lot, actually. Old advertising paperweight from Pennsylvania for petroleum. Anything that's petroleum, oil and gas tends to do well. A Wade Irish porcelain dealer sign. Dealer signs tend to do well too because there's only a few of those for every large collection of stuff that they sold. Well, Ronald McDonald and I hope you're really enjoying this video, and if you are, please click the thumbs up to let YouTube know. Please do subscribe if you haven't, because then you can click the bell to be notified of future videos. And if you would like to take a membership, well then, we'll be happy to take it and go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac. We don't do that with it. We do use it to bring you more content and bonus videos and extra stuff. So if you want to hit that join button or look under the dash line in the description of any video, you'll see membership links and you can find out more about it. We appreciate all of your support no matter what it is. Jocelyn took a lot of paperweights and she left some paperweights, and there's still some really pretty ones in the case. But there's a bunch up here that she's already put aside too. Oh, don't stop on my account. They're busy wrapping because we have quite a large order going here. This is really fun, and I wish it was a little longer pull. They're kind of blunted on the ends, but this looks like a Chalet glass piece, and I'm a big fan. Made in Canada. Could be the Chantilly label, but I believe that this may have been broken and filed down, unfortunately. It's only priced at $95, which is not bad for the big splash bases. Doesn't have the logo, which means it was made in the first 10 years of their production. Afterwards, they put a nice etched signature on it that you could see. Microbe chiller. They were starting to figure out microbes in the Victorian era, and so microbe chiller was an important thing. Whether it was better for you than the microbes, well, that is something that is up for debate. Local frock here for $45. Very pretty amphora woman. This one's on hold. She's very sweet. Look at the great design. This should be from about 1910. German opera glasses in the original case. These are still pretty handy. You just put them on like their sunglasses and you can hold them up and you can watch the jousters or the opera or the sports events. And if you're in the nosebleed section, well, you can actually see what's going on. Pints of the Lie. I see this as an advertising piece usually. I don't usually see it as a tray. That's a neat piece. Look at this wonderful piece of stained glass. It looks like it's out of a church, but it actually has the emblem of this particular fraternal organization that was for immigrants in the 1880s. These electric clocks from the 1940s and 50s are pretty popular to collect now. And the fact that this one is from a local jeweler is going to make it even a little more special here. But $185 is a fair price. And because it's a Bulova, it probably has a good movement. A lot of these have gone bad and they're really hard to repair. You basically have to get a donor that works and take it apart. Philco service. This would have hung in a store to tell you what your guarantee was and how much they would pay to replace various things on your new television in the 1950s if it broke. $49. That's kind of interesting. All right, got past the first row of showcases. This is a very crowded store, and this is going to be a slow roll, but we're certainly having fun with it. Tons of stacked prints and art. I found a couple of advertising pieces I think are pretty interesting. Here's an old factory print. Little damaged. It'd be interesting if you knew where that was. Mattel miniature cars carrying case. They were actually kind enough to think maybe you had some others that weren't Hot Wheels in 1966 because they hadn't come up with Hot Wheels yet in 1966. But they were on the verge. Meanwhile, they started making the cases for your other pieces by Matchbox and Dinky and Shuko and all those. Richard Petty, one of the favorites of 1970s race car fans. When we were kids, my friend down the block would stop all the playing and go inside and watch any race with Richard Petty with his dad. Nice metal minnow cases here. When you get into fishing lures, when you have stuff on the original card or with the original box or case, prices definitely escalate. The Eastlake clock, this is a kitchen clock with an alarm in the middle. Now, these are not as big a seller as they used to be, but this one is particularly attractive for a few reasons. For one thing, it's a multicolor rather than just the gold on the painting. It also has this interesting paperweight design in the pendulum. And the Eastlake spoon carving. Kitchen clocks were tall and narrow like this. And this one's priced at $235 because it is a pretty good example of the type. The Jockey on Horse clock is a neat piece from about 1950, priced at $185. And I really like these mermaid candlesticks. I think I'll have to ask how much they are. They're chrome, but I have a lot of mermaid collectors. And they're Oneida, so they were made locally. Lots of cool stuff, pocket watches, gold filled, police badges, a little bit of jewelry, security enforcement, $18. That's a good price for that one. $165 Specialite. The important thing with this Specialite beer item is that it has the correct glass in it. They have another one that's $65, but it doesn't have the glass, and the glass is a really important part of this package. These were done around 1940 as advertising, and they would put foam scrapers in them, so when they poured the beer, if it foamed over, they could scrape it off the top. It looks like a big bookmark. I think this is a leather chalet piece or related. A two-toed, I haven't seen that before. $20 for that splash face. $10 for the Bakelite pen holder, which would be a great deal if you actually had a nice fountain pen to set in that. Oh, this is cool.
Usually when you go into an antique now, or a shop and you're buying stuff and taking it out. But in this case, this is a real Fenton vintage one. It's not a Mosser one, but one of the newer ones. And the reason you're bringing it to me is because it's going to be a giveaway for Fenton Frenzy Weekends. It's sponsored by My Flippin' Van Life. Come on, you can find on Instagram and here too.
Wedgwood lighter, a little more unusual piece to see. Is it frozen? If it's not, $5 is the right price. If it is, well, then we have a problem. They just have a crazy amount of stuff in here. There's the Wedgwood Sandeman decanter. That could just be anything. Coffee jars, still banks. This says it's the bargain shelf. $10 is a bargain, but that's also a reproduction. And they know it, and they are being honest about it by pricing it that way. Down here we have $12 on cranberry glass. I mean, some of the prices in here are really good. This is a pretty peach blow piece from Bohemia, Victorian era, only $15. Glass bricks were used as advertising, and a lot of them are banks. This one's SO. Watch your savings growth. This must have been something you got if you filled up a certain number of times at an SO station. Now, this is interesting to me because if this is glass, which it probably is, then we see a lot of gilded glass that's very pretty, and $30 is about right. If this was on ceramic, then it might be Picard or Wheeling decoration, and some of those can go pretty high in porcelain. Assassination of John F. Kennedy resulted in a lot of memorial pieces. This is a bookend set from 1964, priced at $65 by High Luster Polishing Works of Syracuse, New York, so another locally made thing. We are in a part of New York where a ton of home goods and industrial items were made. Really have to take your time in a place like this. I'm passing by things I passed by and didn't see the first time, and it goes all the way to the floor. I notice we're all doing 3 or 4 circles around this place. It's not that big, but it is jam-packed. From the Sheet Metal Workers International Association, this would have been a badge for the unions. In union, there is strength. This is when the unions were still not completely accepted, and it's a fairly scarce piece. $30 on that. $60 on the eagle with the buffalo nickels, the buckle there. Might be worth looking at. I would completely rock these king shoes. I have a thing for weird shoes, and those are right up there. Faux alligator. I mean, look at that color. Don't think that this is real, but it is embossed. Silly and fun. Behind it, we have a pair of snowshoes out of Vermont. See, in this part of the country where they're fairly common, they're only $65. I could take these back west, and I could put double that price on one. $28 seems like a very good price on that Victorian applied wheat base. It's newer, but I do like these. Reptile, nice alligator on that base, $45, but it doesn't really have a lot of age. Here's a pretty hanging lamp for $4.50. This does have age, and it's a nice style with the metalwork and the blown out sides. Don't break those because you'll never be able to replace them. Old Delaware pattern, beverage set there. And the Cambridge needs $3.25 for the 3-piece set, but it really is nice to have the 2 composts and the center bowl. This case has a lot of fun stuff in it too, and I guess Jocelyn's going to look at a nice carnival iridized vase there. While you're in there, could I look at this frog, please? This has some sort of a signature here. I like the color. We'll see what the price is. Well, the box is no good, but the compact and lighter, if they're in good shape and haven't been affected by the water, would be worth getting. They're Evans. Interesting that you put a table lighter with a compact, but I guess it's just for getting ready before you leave the house, as you have to have your makeup done and look elegant with your cigarette. BB revolver in the original box, that's pretty cool. A Han 45, that's priced at $165. This is a great color combination, the orange and black from the 1930s. That's check glass, that particular basket. But here's a fun Murano piece with a spiral on the bottom here. And you like the silver, you see more of gold. Well, I guess it's a gold and silver fleck combination. This one's priced at $65. Chips never slip. This is advertising for, yes indeed, horseshoes. If you were in mud or ice here in New York, you would need those, and that's priced at $125, an unusual advertising piece. The Occupation. This is a very pretty mirror with the French fashion print on the top and then the mirror on the bottom. This would date to sometime in the 1920s or 30s when French style was all the rage in the United States. It's only $65, but it's got a little bit of damage up in the top breast. Very popular, especially in the 1970s and 80s, to have a Windsor style chair done with your college logo. This thing's from Syracuse University, but I've seen them all over the country, generally with the contrasting colors and the arms. I just got the clock by itself, and here is the horse with the clock. It says it's in working order, and it's $28. That's pretty tempting. That could definitely sell for double that in the right place, particularly in Kentucky or out west, some of the places I sell. So I think that might come with these. Well, this place is so amazing, and I think I'm going to run out of time before I run out of place. A steal on this kitchen cover would be great for display. Only $75. 1930s. Interesting cutouts. And good handles. It opens and closes. Boy, if I had a place for it, that would go with me at that price. To be very useful until it's sold. And, you know, it's a little worn in an appropriate place, not a fake way, but if you wanted, because it was pretty plain and just painted to begin with, you could paint out the doors in a red or do something else that would really make it pop. You see the carafe a lot by itself, but this is the full set. This has the cream and the sugar. This is by Sunbeam, and it's got the little warmer. You would need to get a cord for it, but this was your bedside coffee service where you could plug it in the morning and have a nice cup of coffee with cream and sugar before you got out of bed. Ooh, look at the spaghetti lamp. Wow, that is really fun. I don't know what the price is. I'm gonna have to find out because I just would kick myself if it turned out to be a relative bargain and I left it behind. They're usually not a bargain anymore though. Wow, they say it's a whole set with coal lamps and a bunch of other pieces. I'm not sure where those are, but I'm gonna have to ask because they're fantastic. What a crazy fun place this is. Oh, there's a real disco ball from back in the time too. I was told recently by a viewer that I should have picked up the one that was missing some tiles because they're fairly easy to fix. And I guess that's true. Just a glass cutter and a plain flat piece of mirror, and you have to put it back together. This place just goes on and on. Utica Club with the faux ice tongs, that is really fun up there. And Genesee Beard, a psychedelic version next to it, out of the 70s. Those are local brands, so I don't expect these to be cheap, but they're really fun. If you have a home bar or a man cave or anything like that, really cool. I've only seen one before. These are night sharpeners made in England, and there's the tag with the patent holder on it. The transferware ceramic tag with the patents of the 1870s and 80s. They have this on sale for $325. These new glass, but wow, look how neat this is with all of the feather flowers saying welcome. We usually associate these with funerals at some point in the Victorian era, but I think this one was actually made to be a welcome to a hotel or an establishment. They have it priced at $350. Really fantastic Moroccan style lamp with that iridized glass. All those inserts from the 1960s. Again, I don't expect the Oneida to be cheap because they do know what they've got, and they've got some really good pieces, but what an interesting variety. They even have a sailfish on the wall, or a marlin. This is really cool. $80. This is advertising some local sports news and music channel. 1240 KC. And if the clock worked at $80 for someone who had connection to wherever WBOS was, which I imagine was somewhere right around here, that might not be a bad price. Fields Draft is another New York area beer. This is really cool. They've got a lot of fun advertising things. This is presented to somebody who worked for the Liverpool, London, and Globe Insurance Company, but they apparently worked here at a U.S. branch because this is a New Haven banjo clock from about 1930, and that is in fact the date that it says on it. Prayers are pretty popular now, but the copper and brass one is particularly neat, and this came from a local area also, in fact, made right here in the Utica area. Beautiful Victorian cranberry glass enamel lamp here. And it's got the original duplex double wick. It's nice to see one that hasn't been converted to electric. We have a very nice Fenton A-pattern here with this great pattern, and then a threaded glass A-pattern in the blue opalescent. George Burns, he had a lot of fun. Made it to 100. I think he had a pretty good life, and he definitely brought a lot of people joy, and had some himself. 35's not bad on the Seagram's BO sign here, because it's a thermometer. It was just a little less, I'd get it. This place really just goes on and on and on and on. Here's another bridge lamp with the mesh shade similar to one we saw yesterday in a different mall. And pick this lamp up. Well, it's very heavy, so you'll have a hard time. Love the feet. 1920s, very strong design. There's a Vaseline glass console set. I like the candles. We'll see how much that is. The challenge, this is an 1870s English sewing machine. This is a very handsome machine, priced in the $325 range. Look how cute that litho print from about 1890 is with the three babies. One of them's not so sure of the other two, but the other two are having a good time, and that's priced at $65. So this is where we are, and I suggest if you're in this area to stop by. It is worth the trip. They have a really great selection of stuff, especially for a place that's just sort of quietly open on the weekends by the roadside. Very impressive.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.